All right, today we're diving into something that is quickly becoming a critical piece of AI infrastructure, the enterprise-grade MCP registry. Now, MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, and you can really think of it as the new control system for a world that's being powered more and more by AI. So let's break down what that actually means for you. So, the game has just fundamentally changed. We are moving way beyond AI that just sits there and responds to whatever you type in. In this new paradigm, AI agents are proactive. They're out there, on their own, looking up systems, weighing their options, and actually making tool calls to get things done, all without a human needing to step in every single time. And that, right there, raises a huge question for pretty much every enterprise out there. I mean, when you unleash these powerful, autonomous agents into your complex systems, how do you guide them? How do you make sure they're being safe, efficient, and are actually playing by the rules of your business? Well, the answer to this whole control problem is something called an MCP registry. And just like it says here, a good way to think about it is as a new kind of catalog, one that's been built from the ground up specifically for the age of AI. So what is it exactly? Well, an MCP registry is basically a centralized, curated library. It lists out all the approved and compliant tools that your AI agents are even allowed to touch. You can think of it as the official playbook that gives an AI workflow sanctioned, actionable access to all of your company's different systems. Now, if this sounds a little bit abstract, here's a great analogy. For decades, right, developers have relied on package registries, think NPM or Maven, as their central source for software libraries. Well, AMCP registries do the exact same thing, but for AI. They are the central inventory for all your AI tools, agents, and capabilities. And you should know, this isn't just some theory. Major players are already building these things out. We're seeing everything from the open source official MCP registry to platform-specific catalogs from giants like Docker and Microsoft. Even enterprise solutions like the Azure API Center are getting in on this. This is happening right now. But, and this is a big but, to be truly effective inside an enterprise, a registry has to be so much more than just a simple, static list of tools. So let's look at the blueprint for what really makes a registry enterprise-grade and powerful. This quote from Christian Posta over at solo.io, man, it just hits the nail on the head. He says if you're treating this as just another static list, you are completely missing the point. You have to see it for what it truly is, a dynamic, strategic part of your AI control system. So, what does that control plane actually look like? Well, it's really built on three essential pillars: incredibly rich metadata for the AI itself, robust controls for the developers who have to maintain it, and of course, strong security guardrails for the entire organization. Okay, let's start with that first pillar, rich metadata. For an agent to work on its own, it needs some serious context. I mean, way more than just a server address. It needs to know about things like cost, potential side effects, and even which version of a tool to use. A key innovation here is something called semantic discovery. It uses tech called embeddings to help an agent understand not just what a tool is, but what it's for. It's almost like giving it intuition, so it can choose the right tool for the job, just like a person would. Next up, we've got developer controls. Because even though AI agents are the ones using this stuff, human developers are the curators. So to build trust and get people to actually use it, the registry needs a great developer experience. And that means clear documentation, signals about a tool's reliability, and easy-to-use controls for managing the whole life cycle of a tool, from adding it to setting its permissions. And finally, maybe most critically, are the security guardrails. You know, the world of agentic AI is still a bit of a wild west, so building in security from the very start is absolutely non-negotiable. This means robust, modern authentication, clear boundaries on which agents can access which tools, and strong data governance with real-time monitoring. You know, there's actually a pretty interesting debate emerging among the experts here. Where should these security rules actually get enforced? Some argue the registry should just express the rules, set the standard for what's allowed. But others think the actual enforcement needs to happen down at the agent or orchestration level, which would prevent the registry from becoming a central bottleneck or a single point of failure. Okay, so you're convinced you need one. The next logical question is, do you go with a public, off-the-shelf registry, or do you build your own private one? Let's break down the trade-offs here. So if you look at the trade-offs, public registries can definitely get you started quickly, but that ecosystem is still pretty new, so you have to be really careful about security. On the other hand, a private, internal registry is generally going to be safer and lets you build a curated portfolio of tools that your organization implicitly trusts. It really becomes a core piece of your own infrastructure. But in reality, the choice isn't always so black and white. For a lot of enterprises, the most common starting point is probably going to be a hybrid approach, taking an existing open source registry, forking it, and then extending it with all the private controls and governance your specific organization needs.
Okay, let's bring all this together. At its very heart, the strategic reason for an MCP registry is to find that perfect balance between giving AI agents the autonomy they need to be effective while maintaining the control your enterprise needs to stay safe.
And here's a key lesson learned from teams who are already deep in this stuff. The need for a registry shows up much, much faster than you might think. As soon as you have more than just a couple of teams deploying AI agents, the chaos of unmanaged tools becomes a real problem very, very quickly. And get this stat right here brilliantly shows the kind of impact we're talking about. The company Workato turned on these governed enterprise MCP features for its employees, and boom, in just 60 days, they saw a 700% jump in the use of their AI assistant. And this wasn't just idle chatter. We're talking support engineers, financial analysts, and sales teams, all building new workflows that created real business value.
And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. The goal is to unlock that kind of massive value by balancing agent autonomy with enterprise control. A high-quality, well-designed MCP registry isn't just a nice-to-have, it is the absolute key to achieving that balance safely and at scale. So, the final question to leave you with is this. As autonomous agents get more and more woven into the fabric of your business, is your enterprise actually ready to build the control plane they're going to need to thrive?